Should the New York Jets offer the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft for wide receiver Deebo Samuel? You're all caught up to the saga by now, so let's just boil it down to this simple hypothetical question. You're Joe Douglas, you get the call, and San Francisco will ship you Deebo Samuel in exchange for the 10th pick. If you're saying hell yeah to that, drop a hell yeah in the comments right now. If you're not sure, give me a few minutes to try and change your mind. There are 5 main reasons why I would do this. Number 1, I'm going to be honest, just as a fan, the excitement, the firepower, the relevance, man, I'm here for it. I'm not really a big jersey guy. I have a couple vintage guys, Crabette, Martin. But the last jersey I actually bought was Jamal Adams. So I'm gonna hang tight for a while. But I'm getting a Deebo jersey if we pulled this off. No doubt about it. So that's number 1. And that's not the GM side of it. Honestly, as a fan, I'd be really excited because he would bring some dynamic playmaking ability, some relevance, and some firepower to our offense. And when you're showing up at MetLife Stadium, win or loss, you got to see something special likely out of Deebo Samuel. He is worth the price of admission. Now, some more practical reasons. Number 2, it prioritizes our young quarterback. I mean, you swing that trade for Deebo Samuel, Zach Wilson now has no excuses next year. He didn't have the weapons last year. Sam Darnold never had the weapons all 3 years. And we fixed that right away in one move. Well, combined with what we did in free agency. Number 3, his production is insane. Last year, over 1,700 scrimmage yards, 12 total touchdowns. So that's impressive volume, but he was also really efficient. Over 6 yards per carry as a rusher, and his 18.2 yards per catch actually led the entire NFL. And he also helps you situationally, 3rd down, 4th down, short yardage, red zone. He is a first down and touchdown machine. Now, 18.2 yards a catch, right? He stretches the field vertically, although you don't think of him as a burner. And you can use him with gadgetry on sweeps and reverses. So he stretches the field horizontally. He makes the defense account for every single blade of grass. You know who doesn't want Deebo Samuel? The defensive coordinators of the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, and New England Patriots. That's who doesn't want Deebo Samuel to be a Jet. I guarantee you that. Reason number 4. Oh, now let's answer the big question here, right? Deebo or just sitting tight and taking a wide receiver with the 10th overall pick, right? Because that's the big argument here. I wouldn't want to trade for Deebo. We can get Jameson Williams, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, whoever you like at number 10. And that's not a crazy take to want to get the young guy and save the money. It's not a crazy take. But here's what we have to consider. If you want to sit tight and draft a guy at 10, because most people would agree you're not taking receiver at 4, you probably want to go edge at 4, receiver at 10. There are 3 things that need to go right in order for that to work out. Number 1, your guy has to be there at 10. The Atlanta Falcons need a wide receiver. So there's no guarantee that whoever your top guy is, that he's going to be available at 10. Let's say another team trades a wide receiver. What if Seattle moves on from DK? What if the Titans trade A.J. Brown? What if Washington football team trades McLaurin? And then one of those teams want to use that draft capital that they gained in that trade to come up and leapfrog the Jets to get their number 1 receiver. So there's no guarantee your guy's there at 10. Now, if that roll of the dice goes your way and he's there at 10, with 2 of these guys, there's big injury concerns. Jameson Williams is rehabbing a torn ACL. Drake London had a fractured ankle and still looked limited at his pro day, which he had to push back because of another injury. So let's say those first 2 rolls of the dice go your way. 1, they're available. 2, they're healthy. 3, that prospect actually has to develop into the player that you think they are. So we have to remove our ego from this a little bit and admit that that's not a sure thing. Like, I'm 85-90% sure Jameson Williams is going to be a stud in the NFL, but I'm 100% sure that Deebo Samuel is one of the top 5 playmaking weapons in the league. And finally, let's talk about the money. Reason number 5. To give up that pick and then swing out a $25+ million extension, yeah, that stings a bit. but he's giving you the production of a number 1 wide receiver and a number 2 running back. He had almost triple the amount of receiving yards last year as our leading receiver, Elijah Moore. And if he was on the Jets last year, he would have been second in rushing yards, and he would have led our entire team in rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's almost as productive as like our entire skill position group last year. It's insane. And think about how impressive that Jets wide receiver group becomes with Deebo Samuel, because I think the Jets had a respectable wide receiver core last year. The problem was injuries. And then I think all of them were playing one spot on the depth chart higher than you'd like. So we can debate whether or not Elijah Moore could be a wide receiver 1, but everyone knows he'd be a really good number 2. And Corey Davis, we can go back and forth on whether or not that contract was worth it. But as a number 3, that makes Corey Davis immediately, in my opinion, probably the best number 3 wide receiver in the NFL. And then Braxton Berrios as a backup and a gadget guy, and then Denzel Mims still a wild card. That would be the most impressive wide receiver group that I can remember the Jets having in my lifetime. Because a few years ago when we had the 2 guys go for 1,000, Decker and Marshall, we weren't that deep. For a stretch of time there, it was like Kembrell Tompkins as our number 3. I mean, if Denzel Mims, a 6'3" guy running a sub 4.4, who is a high second round pick, he's your number 5, he's your wild card, man, that'd be a really impressive group. Those are my top 5 reasons why I would hypothetically trade the number 10 overall pick to the 49ers for Deebo Samuel. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you love this video. But either way, let's go Jets.